The key to success on the field and in your backyard is a comprehensive game plan. So if you're building a fence or a deck this year, trust a Turkstra coach to design, quote, or order the right materials for your project. Visit a Turkstra Lumber near you to learn more.
From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome back to the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. The Ticats getting ready on a short week here, their 5th game of the season at Edmonton this Thursday the 13th, and that's a 9 p.m. start time for everybody here in the Hamilton area. Coming off their first win against Ottawa at home at Tim Hortons Field. Coach, congrats on the first win. It's a short week. You're back to work, but that's all a little bit easier when you've put one in the win column.
That's the goal. That's the goal every week, Luke. You know that. And so lots to clean up, but we love to clean up after wins.
Yeah, easier to learn from a win, and harder when you're having to learn every week after a loss. But now you're back on track, and Ottawa falls to last in the East. What stood out to you about that win that was different from those games getting away from you earlier in the season?
Well, we weren't down double digits at halftime. We were down, I think it was 10-9 or something like that. But I thought we did, we strung together, again, a lot of, we started fast. Let's just say that. We started fast, meaning we were able to move the ball. The end zone did elude us there, but we came away with points. And the defense kind of kept them at bay. Kind of felt like we were in control. I wouldn't say dominated, but we were in control of the field position battle, where they were on long fields. They may have moved the ball a little bit, but ultimately they punted. So yeah, I thought that was really what stood out. Like it was basically a 0-0 ball game at halftime, which we really haven't had. The other thing that's encouraging is we haven't had, since it is our first win. It's always encouraging when you win close games. Those are the ones that usually separate the dominant seasons from the average seasons. And when you can win close games, it does matter. And while we didn't play the cleanest, all penalties and analytics aren't equal. So did the penalties need to be cleaned up? Correct. But, when you're taking 4 time count violations, those are different violations than holding, objectionable conducts. So all things aren't equal, but it all does equal. We got to find a way to be a little bit more disciplined there. But I do think down the stretch we were more disciplined than they were. And, it came down to the last play. It wasn't a saying or a cliche. It just really did. So
sure did.
And the biggest difference, Luke, we won. Yeah.
Yep. You found a way to get it done. The finishing drives, like you mentioned there at the beginning. What's the strategy? How do you coach that? I mean, what are you talking about in an offensive room or in a team room about what you're going to change in order to finish those drives in the end zone?
Well, I think every week it's different. As you know, defenses, there's the game planning part. You obviously address the elephant in the room, and that is, you can kick 5 field goals and win a few games, sure, and score 1 touchdown, and then there's going to be games where it's going to have to be flipped. You're going to kick 1 field goal and you're going to need 4 touchdowns. And so, you address it as a whole, and it's kind of like the whole part, right? You address the whole, and then you break down the parts. It's like, what are we doing? Who are we trying to get the ball to? And then the why. Why are we executing? What are we doing well, and what are we not? And so, and then it comes down to when your number is called, make your play. Right? So we did have a ball go off the hands. It wasn't our first read, but, that's just football, right? Yeah. And so whatever hand you're dealt, we got to find a way to get it in there. So it's a collection of things. It's not like you can say, okay, we're going to run it, we're going to pass it, we're going to trick them, we're going to rub them. It's always predicated on the film study, as you know. But if you keep it results-based, it hasn't been good enough. We know that. We like to coach off of wins.
Yeah. Sticking with your offense there, run game just looked different from the previous weeks. 3 times as many runs against Ottawa as you had before your bye week against Montreal. Over 100 yards for the team. James Butler gets involved. Are you going into that game saying, if nothing else, let's make sure that we tried the run more? Or is it more so, the first quarter was going well and you kept it on the ground a little bit?
No, there was a definitely a deliberate effort to do that week, and that includes you're going to have to take the good with the bad. So you're going to have to take the 7 or 17 yard carries, and you're going to sometimes you're going to have to take the 1 yard and the 2 yard. That's just part of the deal, and we did make a concerted effort to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more. And, he's a special back, but credit the O-line and the offensive staff for sticking with it.
What about James Butler? I mean, he's obviously new to the Ticat fans, had a great season last year out west, and pretty impressive in the game. I mean, he did. He had some good patience, some good explosions, sort of had multifaceted, tool set for a back. Does a guy like that, is there frustration that you sense from him early in the season? And does a game like this help a new Ticat sort of get involved with this team?
JB is a pro. Butler's a pro. Any competitive person, you're the ultimate team player too, but a few weeks of clear outs and, the wife's going to hear somebody's going to have to listen. So you like the competitive, you like the competitive nature. So it's not rooted in me. It's rooted in I want to help. And that's the majority of what I find. If you have the right people, that's how it's rooted. It's not I'm not getting my touches. It's how can I help contribute? And he's just such a complete back. So no, I don't sense frustration, but to think that and it's not even about him. It's the competitive football player that may not be getting catches or playing time or reps. That's in training camp even. When you don't get reps, it's like, I feel like the walls are caving in on you. Mm-hmm. And that's just competitive nature. Sometimes it's selfishly motivated, but most of the time it's rooted in just wanting to be a part of something. So he's such a complete back, though. I mean, he was chipping, and catching, swings and blocking and bringing the energy and spinning the ball on the field, and just excited that he's a Ticat.
Yeah, so I mean, he's exciting to watch as the game progressed, and when he had the ball in his hands, it looks different. It's an exciting piece of the offense. I don't know how to ask this question because there's so many ways to go, but in just some way, the offense just looked a little bit different. I saw some just creative things. I mean, Felix Gauthier was like out split wide, in the slot to set up to block for sort of a screen to Butler or a wide receiver screen. Very quick answers for Matt Schiltz earlier in the game. Can you just speak to the prep for that week against Ottawa and what you and your offensive staff sort of were planning to do in that game, and why did it go so well this time around?
Well, I think again it started with running the football, and that really kind of set it up, and from there, getting the ball out quick was important, but then there's always the game within the game, and that's the adjustments that need to be made to their adjustments. And so I think a lot of our answers were quick. And so there's always the game plan is what I'm saying. So what we talked about is, plan A. And then, it's okay, well, they didn't show this. You're in constant communication during the game. Mm-hmm. This is the third second down that they brought the halfback and they're pressuring. And so they may have brought that pressure, but not in that situation or that often. And so when you have – and then you're breaking tendencies also, right? So if, Felix has always been in the backfield, okay, how are they going to adjust? They got to adjust now to what we're doing. And so I think multiple has always been something we've done since, 2013. But, with the different packages and whatnot, I think it worked out well for us this past week.
Mm-hmm. Defensively, we were able to turn the page in a couple categories. You got to the quarterback, and you took the ball away. And that's sort of been the story. You've had a great defense, players all over the place, all-stars all over the place, but the lack of takeaways has been an ongoing issue. And against Ottawa, you took the ball away. What can you say about that? What was it? What led to that, changing that in this Ottawa game?
Players made plays. it was that. We did some things. I'm not going to sit here and say the scheme did everything. The players make the plays. Coaches prepare people, and the players' job is to perform. And so, we did a few different things up front. I thought we caught them on a few twist games. We didn't adjust real well to their quarterback, really, in my opinion, going through his maybe one or two first or second read and then running. That was pretty much it. Thought we were a little bit slow to adjust there. But when you talk about the energy the defense brought, the short porches, giving them the ball, taking the ball out of their hands, ultimately helping us lead to time of possession. And when we have the ball, we like our chances of them not scoring. So can't say enough great things. We'd like to tackle a little bit better, but now I sound like a true coach thinking the perfect game is going to be played. That type of an effort is going to win a lot more games than not. And it has been something that has eluded us a little bit. But you've been around. That's kind of what Hamilton is built. That's Tiger Cat defense. Yeah.
The sticks out to me is Richard Leonard, that seam across the middle there, and just like an unbelievably, athletic, acrobatic ability to keep the ball in the air.
Yes.
I think there's a sense that there's some risk there. Talk to me about Richard Leonard in that sense. Does he know that is he trying to do that, or is it just an athleticism that you can't teach, that he just knows Simone's standing right there, so he tips it to him?
I think it's one of those things in coaching that you can't coach. I think some coaches think they can coach it, but it's called instincts and angles. Players have it or they don't, and that's just really the truth. If you're instinctive, you're instinctive, I always use one of your examples. I know you don't like it, but I mean, I'll always remember a lot of your catches, but I always remember the one in Ottawa that got called back where you were looking over one shoulder, the ball's on the other shoulder. Now, I can't coach that into somebody that, hey, when it's there and the ball goes there, make sure you turn your head at about the 17th step and then throw your hands out late. Like, it just doesn't work. You can't coach that. So I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to say that Rich had his instincts hit the ball, and then we emphasize running to the ball. And when you run to the ball, we always, tips and overthrows, great things have the potential to happen. And you don't want to be that person jogging on film, not running to the ball. And so I think Rich's instincts took over. And then obviously Simone was hustling to the football and made the play ultimately.
That's great. That catch that you mentioned was thrown by my catch by years ago was thrown by Jeremiah Masoli, and I figured on the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker, you and I are two guys who think very highly of Jeremiah, and that yes. I don't know, my heart was broken when I saw that, and my wishes and well wishes go to him and his family, and I hope that his recovery is quick. And you were able to chat with him on the field. That must have been a hard moment for him.
It definitely was, but in pure Jeremiah fashion, with all due respect and pride and everything, I would say he did his best to keep his emotions in check and kind of have his mask on and be strong. I can't imagine how the heart was pounding and what was going on inside, but after the game, I almost got a little emotional, right? It was, looking him in the eye and just knowing his journey. I made mention of that after the game, just everything from the transfers in college to the little interruption in his plan there, to being in Edmonton, to being traded, to almost being on his way out the door, to throwing 3 touchdown passes in a preseason game at McMaster against Montreal, which led to a contract extension. And then just backing up to June Jones coming in and him stepping in, and what a powerful testimony. And the reaction in the stadium was something that was in a movie actually. Normally it's you clap when the person gets up, and if you know them personally or know somebody who knows them, you may take a knee, but there was genuine, whatever adjective you want to throw in there. Be it concern or whatever, just that's the respect that he garnered across this league. And if that's his last football game, competitively always, you don't rule any of that out, but if it is, if you can find anything, any silver lining in it, how about the fact that he came back to Tim Hortons Field and did it where he made most of his hay?
Yeah. Yeah, just a genuine respect. And it is interesting. And, we talked in the post game. We're pleased that, the Hamilton, our listeners, clearly have that respect too. And the stadium, I thought, handled it well. And, well, we just hope there's a quick recovery for Jeremiah and for whatever's in his future. But yeah, what a guy, and I have a lot of thanks to owe him in my career as well. So, yeah, well said, Coach. Quickly, we'll mention our Turkstra Lumber sponsors here. The Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is presented by Turkstra Lumber. Check out the project coaches at Turkstra Lumber. They can help with every part of your home rental, from designing a deck to ordering a new front door. As always, you can learn more at TurkstraLumber.com. Let's see here. Let's go on to a fan question, Coach. All right. Listeners, don't forget you can send any question you want to ask Coach O to gameday@ticats.ca. Just put in the subject question for Coach O or the Coach O Show, and we'll ask one every week as we move our way through the season. So this one is from David and Jessica in Hamilton. Coach, short week as you get ready for Edmonton. How do you guys practice differently knowing that you have to play a game so soon?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think it's about, you have to know your football team and how banged up are you. Everybody's going to be sore. That's a given. So I think a heavily, laden veteran team, maybe there's times in my career where you didn't go on the field one day. And then maybe it was just meetings. Then there's the, do we need to be sitting around not doing anything? Do you push them through that threshold point? So for us, we gave the day off after the game, where I think everybody needed time, from coaches to equipment people to therapists. Just everybody needed a break. So there wasn't anything where normally we would have a rundown after the game, even if it's light, and watch the tape. We elected not to do that. Just give them the day off. Then the next day we came in and had extended meetings and went on the field for an hour, but that included stretch and walkthrough. So there wasn't a lot of team periods. That's just to get the look. And then today we'll do the same thing. So I guess in short, we're going to be on the field probably 2 hours in total in preparation for this, which is quite a bit less time than you would in a normal week.
Mm-hmm. Another another difference for this week, yes, it's a short week, but it's also a 9 p.m. start time, for Hamilton time. What do you got? What's a strategy as you travel, as you're getting ready for the day of the game? Is there something different that you guys do with such a late kickoff?
We've done it all different ways. We've tried to tell people to make sure you're awake and know when the kickoff time is. And, there's even been times, I think maybe when you were here, when Ike brought, people, he'd invite people to the stadium at certain times and this was when we were going all the way out west to BC, mm-hmm. Which is, even another hour later for us. But, no, there's not a lot. Everybody's professionals, and you do make mention of it, and you understand that it is a later kickoff. But, at the end of the day, it's football. When they kick the ball off, none of that matters. None of that matters. But you do want to make sure that, you have a little bit of stamina at the end. Yeah.
One more for regarding Edmonton here, Coach. No secret that they're struggling in Edmonton. The Elks have been looking for wins for quite a while now, this season and into last season, and it's been quite a struggle there. You're going there to try to get your second win of the season. How do you keep that losing team losing?
Well, you can't look at their record. You can't. You got to take this game just as serious. They're gonna. I'm sure they have it circled like, this Hamilton's a beatable team. We got to take advantage of this. We're at home and all those things. And the storylines are all there. For us, it's the next game, and we got to string together 2 in a row. And, we have goals and aspirations too, and this is just the next game on the schedule. So we would like to get a winning team losing if the team we were playing was undefeated, mm-hmm. right? So rather than focusing on keeping losing teams losing, It's more they're the next team on the schedule. Let's get out of our own way and, clear our minds, clean up some of the things, and let's continually keep getting better. I know that's the saying, but it's so true, right? Just because you can't confuse your path right now with your destination. And that's what we're not doing. We're going to continually get better and keep working and grinding, and Edmonton just has to be next. And then before you know it, the next game will be here too. But we want to control this practice right now. And when Edmonton shows up, we know we're going to get their best. We're always going to expect to come out with one more point. And, that was the messaging to the team last week. Like right now, we're not that football team that's going to blow people out. We're just not. So you better embrace it and find a way to win.
That's great. Coach, it's a pleasure as always. Thanks a lot for your time, and good luck with the week of prep as you guys get ready to travel out west.
Awesome, Luke. Look forward to it. See you next week.
Another episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is in the books. Let us know your thoughts. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Coach O and Luke are back next week to discuss the latest from the locker room. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.